Hey, watercolor artists, welcome to National Park Week 4. We have Bryce Canyon and a pygmy owl. These are really hard to spot. I actually didn't spot it, I have to tell you the truth, but we did search. So for this one, I want to do a really cool sort of terracotta background bokeh effect, and with the really cool lighting sort of circles, and then our little guy in the front. So to do that, if you guys need the colors, which you will, and the traceable, which you likely will, this one's a little more complicated. It is free. Go ahead and get it in the description, and I will send you the PDF. It is a palette passport that I send out every month with a new design scheme. This month is National Parks Month. I have a variety of brushes. I'm going to start with a 12. So what we're going to do is wet everything, pretty decently wet, everything around our pygmy owl. Pygmy owls are small but mighty and fierce. Do you know, fun fact, they are the size of a robin, but they're pretty kind of fierce predators, and they're up in the day. They're not nocturnal. So again, we didn't see them, but we did search with Merlin, our Merlin app, and we were looking hard. Apparently, if you hear a lot of birds calling in a group, that is how you know, mobbing, I guess it's called, that's how you know one might be nearby, because they do attack smaller birds and stuff, and the birds are sounding the alarm. Okay, I'm wetting all through here. It's okay that I left this. We're gonna erase the owl lines. I'm leaving some of these lines. Now, I have what I think is a really cool way to do this. It's a circle stencil. So this one was like $1, totally different sizes. It's also cool for making little perfect circles for a moon. I did that in this camp scene, the moon. Use that. But this is a really cool way we can do the bouquet. So let's get a couple of dry paper towels. I'm going to get started with the coloring and then decide a couple of different circles. I might do that circle, a couple bigger ones. I think I'm going to stick to these two sizes just so that we get a variety. Okay, so to start, let's drop in. I'm doing this terracotta because it was Bryce Canyon. Guys, this is going to be so fun. And so, oh my gosh, we don't want blue. What just happened? That was in the palette in the corner. That's okay. Well, blue kind of looks good with turquoise, but that's not what I was going for. Back to playing this. I use Daniel Smith paints. You guys use whatever you have. The paper makes more of a difference than the paints. To be honest, having a professional quality paint is amazing. Having a non-professional quality paper is sometimes make or break your entire project. So guys, we're splurging on the paper, and the paint is a nice to have. You can do Cotman, student grade. In my palette that I linked below, I have the list of equivalent paints in Cotman. You can do lots of different pigments that are pretty strong and good staining quality. That really work out well. I'm dropping pigments all over the place. We just want to cover it and create some really cool background here. We're gonna do like 3 passes of this. It's gonna be really fun. This is pass number 1, and I'll show you what we're gonna do. So let's get it all around the owl, but not touching. Since we didn't wet the owl, it's doing a good job for us of just kind of staying around it. I'm gonna grab, every once in a while I'm just dipping back into water. This is such a huge brush, it does hold a lot of water and pigment, but every once in a while I'm going back in. I may just add a straight red here and there. I want the corners to be darker than some of the other areas, so putting some of that in too. This is all gonna spread a lot around for us. We have a ton of water on right now. Like I said, I want the corners to be a little darker, just so we're doing like a little vignette effect. Okay, now let's get into this. Let's get around this owl, pygmy owl. So cute. They're so cute, but so ferocious. They are really, I've seen some naturalists work with them. They are fierce. They do not mess around. Fierce hunters. But tiny. small but fierce. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now, before this dries, what we want to do, I don't want this super red. I'm just spreading that a little around so we can, I might even add like a little yellowy. I'm going to do a yellow ochre. You guys can do your lighter yellow and add a little bit of brown or orange. I just want a little more rust in some of this. We're going for like the canyon colors. Bryce Canyon. Pygmy owls are in lots of different national parks, fun fact. All the ones that I visited for this month. In fact, that's why I picked it. Even though I didn't get to see it. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Get a dry brush. I'm using this one just because it's really thirsty. Thirsty brush meaning like it has bristles that are really thick and can soak up stuff. And so what we're gonna do is just put our stencil down and rub out some of that. And then we can even do a paper towel. Look guys, amazing. We're gonna do, look, 2 ways of the bokeh. One way is the towel right now, and that's gonna really pull that open. The other way is going to be, see, it really pulls a lot of it out. The other way is just the brush. I'm gonna wet it, dry it, and then do it up here. Look, see? It's pulled out, but not as much as the white. So I'm wetting my brush, dabbing it, and then redoing the stencil where I would like it. And then rubbing around. I think I'll do medium one down here. Oh, you can overlap some too. Let's do that. Let's overlap a couple. Nice. And maybe one up here. And we'll overlap a little guy next to this one. Because that was a mistake. I didn't like the way that looked before. There. Cool. And let's do one with the paper towel and show you. So I wet it. And now I'm doing the paper towel. See guys? That's a big left of it. And that let's look at the difference between that one and that one. So you can do different strengths of your lifting. Okay guys, so get it to the point where you're happy with it. You have a variety. Okay, let's let it dry and then we'll come back and work on our pygmy owl. Okay guys, for the colors that I'm mixing in the color recipes, you can get that in the description and the color palette, but basically you're gonna need a yellow that you've mixed into like a yellow ochre type color, and then a raw umber and a creamy white. And you can get this by adding a tinge of yellow to like a really light yellow and a tinge of brown to that, and I'll have that mixing recipe. But what I would like us to do for this little guy is wet. Don't go right up to the edge because we still have a little bit that was drying there with our cool bokeh effect. I hope yours came out. I hope you like the way yours came out. And I'm gonna go around the chest area, this little heart-shaped chest area with water, leave that, and do the fur. And then I'm going in the feathers, and I'm gonna do also the whole head, leaving the eyes open. Not the eyes and not the nose. Everything else though, I've just wet a little to get that going. And I'd like us to drop in a creamy color in some places, a darker in some places. We're just gonna this is just starting to establish our whole values. Let's do the outside of that wing. Maybe come over here. This will be a little darker brown in there. I'm gonna do the head just to get started in there. And I'm gonna leave this edge. We're gonna use a fan brush at the very end too, which is super cool for fanning out some of the feathers. This is cool for fur, feathers, everything. Okay, I have this is all wet over here and it's kind of spreading around a little for us. I'm also gonna use the wet and dry from the middle. I want that to remain where it is, so I didn't wet that first. And I'm just gonna do a stripe here, kind of wiggle my brush. I have a 6x6 size. I'm using a number 8 right now for this kind of larger area of the owl. And I'm gonna wet my brush, dab it into the little bit of darker of the tan, And then I'm just gonna drop that into some areas here around the head. I don't want it super wet, so I'm gonna dab it off a little on my paper towel first. Just dab around the outside of the head. The outside is a little bit darker. And then underneath the head, don't you love how he's kind of looking sideways? Over here will be real dark. We'll get back in there with that. And then over here we need dark as well. Sides of the beak with this brown. And I just have a wet down raw umber. And I'm gonna go under the eye marking. There we go. Just make little up and down kind of wiggle. I'm trying to consciously, I'm gonna get a little brown at darker, a little darker strength. And I'm going to just kind of swipe a little there, swipe a little up here. And I'm going to be really conscious here to just make really light a couple of lines, like kind of broken up. Little dabs as we go up. And same here, I'm going to do this for some of the feathers here. I'm just going to do little lines. And same here. Little lines and kind of just random marks. And these are staying put more because it's dry right here. I'm going to put some brown over here. And I'm going to put some right above the feet. Then a couple of them going up. And then over here, I'm going to go ahead and get my brush a little bit wetter. Blend that out because it was a little too dry there. Okay, then over here, I'm going to put some more, get some darker strength of the brown. I'm leaving a couple of areas. See where I'm leaving some white? In some places. I'm going to follow along this part, darker. Make a little outline there. And then I'm going to come over here. And then let's go ahead and get even darker strength, so less water on your brush this time, and go ahead now and put in, well, this is all kind of still wet over here, put in a little darker brown just in this corner part and also down here. Okay, let's get mix a little bit of sort of a, tone it down with a little bit yellowy. A yellow ochre would work well here. You can even put in a pure yellow, but we're going for kind of a golden yellow. And this area is still kind of wet in here. So let's go ahead and drop that in some places here. And let's do it in a line kind of coming down there and over here. And I'm almost glazing it over the top. Let's glaze it in a couple places here on the head, on the front of the head. And let's go also in here. We're gonna lift out a little bit of stuff here just to get some more markings. A little bit at the bottom. Okay, back to our darker brown, and let's make a couple of lines on the head, just a few, and a little darker back here. A couple of lines coming this way. And a little bit on the edge there. Okay. Take a little bit of your brown and a little bit of strength, and we're going to go over here and just add in a couple of just dots. So we're kind of keeping it like the wings kind of coming down in this way, and lots of fun little bits of texture. We can even do it kind of in a V in some places, like a small V if you want. Over here, let's make a couple of lines. It's all kind of darker over here. And then let's just add in some texture where you think it looks like it needs some. And over here, we're gonna do like the last, one of the few things we'll do, the last things we'll do when this is over here drier, I'm adding some brown here, is to pull some feathers out. A little darker brown, that'll look really good too. But for now, let's just get all that. It's coming out really cute, guys. We're not gonna do too much more with this guy. He's so adorable. We're gonna put a little pine branch under him, and then we're gonna call it a day. Let's get a little Payne's Gray and mix it into your brown. So we've got a Payne's Gray brown mixture right now. I'm using a number 6 and I'm gonna go down to a number 4 in a minute. So we're gonna make where the brow is here, we're gonna make that really, really dark and make sure that the eye socket is really obvious. There we go, how cute is that? Rinse your brush a little bit and I want us to pull that down into here. I'm just wetting the edge so that it's not such a harsh line there. There we go. Now I'm going into straight brown and I'm wetting it and I'm going to put that in the corners there. Sort of like wing, no pun intended, like winged eyeliner we're doing over here. Some good winged eyeliner. And then drop some darker right in here around the eye coming this way. Okay? And let's do a little bit of darkening of this part of the face. So right on the sides of the beak, little horizontal triangles. And then let's go under the beak with a little darker brown too. All right, now get a smaller brush if you have it. I'm dropping down to a number 2, getting some of that same brown. And this is fun. It's gonna require you guys to be, I'm putting brown here. It's gonna require you guys to be pretty fearless with your brush, like surgeons, because we're gonna go in kind of small dots. Okay, so we're going around here and let's just make some dots, but they're small. Maybe in like concentric rows. So fun. Let's do that on the other side. So from about here, some of them can be like, when they get out here, they can be lines, like longer. So let's do that over here. Let's make kind of lines. And then once we get in there, they're going to be dots. I also need us to have a little bit of a beigey. If you have mixed, you could mix a little bit of brown in with your yellow. We have a little buff titanium here. Just wanted to fill that in before we went forward with the brown. I had a little white left there. Okay. Let's go around the eye. Couple of dots, looking super cute. And let's do another row. Pretty good strength. I'm drying it off, not super wet. I don't want this to spread around quite as much. Okay, one last little, I think we're good here with the dots. We're gonna do some, let's do some up here as well. So what we're doing is kind of doing the opposite. It has white dots and stuff kind of looking, but we're doing it with the brown. Okay, let's get there. And just get a bunch of dots in there. I'm kind of trying to keep them a little bit in rows, but they don't really need to be. We're sort of negative painting the dots, if that makes sense. There's dots all through here, and I'm just kind of making them show up by painting around them. And then that. And we're leaving those little whites there. And then let's make a lot darker right here. I'm gonna add Payne's Gray to my brush, and then just sort of where this is all pinched in, like the top, like where you would have your glasses sitting. Where it's darker right there. Okay, super cute. So we're doing just using darker colors to establish the depth. let's go in and mix up your yellow ochre with your brown. So like a yellowy brown tan, like Cordova tan color. And then let's do that same thing. Instead of lifting out these, I'd like to go around and create dots in a circle like this. See? Not dots, but sort of white markings there. And we're gonna just brush around that. See what we've done? Let's do that all the way down. And then fill in around it. So we added those little dots there by actually just painting around them. And we can do that in a couple of places over here too. Let's paint around some of these. Okay, and here's the cool thing you can do. Take some watered down paint spray, and I have a really small brush, and make a few of these lines coming up from the bottom, just a few little feather lines, the bottom of the belly area. Okay, it is looking awesome, guys. Maybe add a few of these darks over here with the Payne's gray, and we'll darken a little brown over here. And I think we're ready for some of the final details and then the branch. Okay, for the beak, I have a little yellow leaning tan, like really sort of yellow that's like super creamy. And I'm just putting that in. And then for the eyes, let's do, let's see, a little brighter yellow. And it's kind of similar to the beak, but I'm just adding a touch more yellow to it. And let's do that all in there. I'm leaving the pupil open. Perfect. And then let's get, really, you guys are working with this skinny brush. Doing this as a mini would be really tough. Let's get a brown gray brown, and just go around the outside of that. The eye area, the iris. Really skinny, guys. I have a 2, you could probably be using 1. Go around here. And then let's do shadowing a little bit on the edge of the beak. And on the front here, on the top. Then we need to shadow also a really dark right on the edge of it, the beak. Okay, guys, and then let's put in, get a dark. If you have Payne's gray, that's fine. If you have black, that's good too. Not everyone has black on their palette. I didn't for years and years. When I painted acrylic, I didn't, because the Impressionists don't have it, and I always wanted to challenge myself to make dark colors but not need black. Okay, fill in that little center. Make sure your yellow is not too wet or it'll spread into it. You could let it dry a little bit more than I did. How cute is he? Oh my gosh, so cute until he rips up some prey in pieces. Adorbs. Okay, I think we're good. Let's do like a little bit, since we have the black, just a little under that part of the beak. And oh, let's put a little orange into that sort of beak color. And then do a little bit of the yellowy orange we can do for the claws. Easy, just little dabs here. And we're pretty ferocious, so we can put some little black on the edge, but we are gonna do the, just put a little black tip. We're gonna do the branch too. Okay guys, moving on to the branch. Let's get like a raw umber and just make the pine branch. We can do it in 2 stages. We'll do a lighter wash first and then just add a little bit. We're not fussing with this really at all. We have so much going on in this. I'm going to use the tip of my brush and just kind of draw the branch. And then we're going to add a lot of cool bits of pine to it. It's still wet on the bokeh down here, so it's kind of blending in there. That's fine. Okay, let's drop in a little bit of darker brown in some places, maybe a couple dots, just to get a little texture in there. We're really not going to do much with this. Okay. Taking a little darker brown, and I'm just going to give a little texture. I'm going to do like little C shapes going up. Okay, perfect. Grab that green and then mix a little brown into it. So I have like an army green and a green green. And let's start with our green. And then make some, at the base of them, there's some brown. So let's first come out with our green. And we're just gonna do little pine. And it's just coming out, just little easy on the tip of our brush. And some of it's going over the bokeh, which is really cool. Get that. Okay, let's do a couple of those over here. And I'm leaving a little space there between this and the branch because I'm going to put some brown. So easy, guys. This part is so fun. I love our little guy. It's too bad I didn't get to see him, but now I feel like I kind of have one. I'm gonna have some coming off from the side of off the frame here. Okay, that's it. And then some darker. You can add some darker in, maybe sort of at the bottom of some of these. We definitely want to have some variety. So add a little bit darker in. Get a really dark green and then put some of those in between. And concentrate it a little at the bottom. So grab it really darker, get that going. A couple of them purely dark coming out like that. See, that just gives you so much contrast and it makes it look really cool. And I'm keeping it like pretty wispy overall. Now the last thing we were gonna put is just a little bit of brown towards the base of these. So easy, I might get like a red brown. And go ahead and add just a little, just dabbing. Literally, I'm just dabbing it onto the paper. There we go, guys. It is looking amazing. Do you love him? One last thing you can do if you want is put a little highlight in the eye with your white gel pen. And do I have a white gel pen that works? I do. And I hope you guys keep your mojo flowing. I will see you in the studio next time. I hope you've really enjoyed National Parks Month. I definitely have. And if any of you guys see a pygmy owl, please shoot me a picture. Would love it. Okay guys, have a great one. See you next time.